Some of my friends are
That's a good one. Okay. We have one more class, and then we'll call it quits for a while. But tonight, we're going to do some reviewing, and also we have a guest speaker. Becky's going to be giving us a lecture on her equipment, because this equipment is going to help us a great deal. We're going to understand the quantum mechanics behind this too later, okay? But for right now, let me go to a couple of stories. Okay, let's get a couple of good stories to start. Sandra, I think you had a good story.
Okay. Well, my good story is, I was telling Gary the other day that there are places of, I spent a lot of my life being very anxious. If I wasn't anxious, I was depressed. And there are places in me that I cannot access those anymore. They just aren't accessible. And it's like, well, it's time to get nervous. You may have to do this tonight. Those old feelings of, what if I don't do it right? What if? I can't go there. And that's a miracle. So that is really, because that's where I lived most of my life. So I know this works. I know this works for all of us. And every time we do it, I know we're helping our families, I know we're helping each other. It's the real thing.
Now, you're being modest, but what's happening at Unity?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm learning that I need to speak up more about myself. I decided to run for the board, which is a big deal. And about 6 months ago, a person said to me quietly, I was telling Gary, you know how sometimes God walks up and speaks to you, and you know that's God talking. And she said, you need to get into leadership, Sandra. And I nodded my head politely. And then when this happened, I said, I'm supposed to do this. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be on the board. I know I'm supposed to be part of the process. And for me to willingly do that, it was a 45-minute interview. It was like applying for a job. I was impressed with the quality of the questions and the exchange we had. I was totally authentic. I wasn't, a past experience would have been, what do they want to hear? What do you think they want to hear? It was, here, this is who I am. This is my intention for doing this. And let the outcome be what it will be. And that's new for me. that's a new practice. And I'm very grateful for that. So that's one of the things that's going on.
Very good. Sandra and I were joking yesterday when she told me this, because she went from the back of the bus, right,
Yes.
to the front of the bus, to driving the bus, and now she's owning the bus terminal.
Yes.
So good job. Good job. Okay, one more. Okay, one more. Any good stories? How's God blessing? Come on, God must be blessing you somewhere.
We all have them.
I will tell them.
Okay.
Mine, mainly, I was telling Gary last week about how God showed up for me. And our cockatoo bird got out and went away last week, before this. And Chris got up on the house looking for it, our grandson, and he was trying to find it. And I heard him, and I went out there, and he said, "Here, help me." And we finally found the bird in the tree over the house, and we were able to get it back. And I had walked around the house asking all of my God, the angels, and everyone to help me. And we found the bird. And so we were really happy. Well, this Monday it got out again and ran over the fence that's 9 foot high, and there's 4 dogs down there. And so my grandson went over the fence and then went back up over the fence because they had enclosed the front part. We didn't know that, but there wasn't any other way out. Then he went up to our vet, and of course then you have to find a bird vet, and we went there, and we finally decided to treat the bird, and they wanted $500, and I really didn't know where that was coming from, and so Chris gave me all he had, and then I put in what I could, and so we thought the bird was going to be well. Tuesday night we got to bring the bird home, and was pretty perky and everything, and we all had a lot of hope, and I had asked all of them to help us, but I had also let go of the outcome. So last night, it got worse in the afternoon and died. So we did all come together, I think, in a way that we would not have if it had not been for what I've learned here, and I was able to talk to each person, and I was able to be loving and kind about everything that happened, and each one of them has told me how much that has meant to them. And my grandson keeps telling me, "You're just so amazing." And then my son came in and said, "Thank you for everything." And my husband even wrote me a note this morning and said, "You're just an example of God's love." And it was a real gift to me. Now, I stayed in bed all day and meditated because I was so tired this morning. It was like it had drained everything. And I called and said, "I'm not coming to work." And for me, that's a big thing because I'm such a workaholic. But anyway, my boss said, "Don't come at all, just stay home all day." So I said, "Okay, I will." And so I just laid in bed and meditated and really let God love me. And that's where the source is. And I really do know that. And I really know that it renews me. And if I can always remember that, you know, I can be ready for whatever happens.
Thank you. That bird really wanted to get out.
He really is. He was ready to go home.
He was ready.
He had a mission.
You're not kidding. Well, so do we. We got a mission too. Remember what we said our mission was last year when we started this whole thing. There were two parts to our mission. We said, number one, that we could have a deeper, more abiding version of God. That every one of us, regardless of the version that we believe in, could be more personal, more powerful, more direct. That was number one. Number two, we said that it would be possible for us to manifest our purpose and destiny very quickly, very effectively, much more quickly than anything we've ever done before. And in a way that will bring our results to us much more easily than anything we've ever done. We said that the reason why those two elements are missing in almost every one of us is simply because we have the human side. We have the brain and we have the heart. We've talked about this, we've talked about this. I don't think I need to go into details about that. But these techniques that we developed from the Q statement on down to the therapies are designed to reprogram us. They're designed to change the energies of our cellular memories as well as those human energetic fields, both inside of us and around us, so that they're vibrating according to God. Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, angels, or whatever God you believe in. So we said that the first way of getting there was to make a Q statement. We know how to make the Q statements. The question was, and has always been, how do we take the energy of our Q statement and take it from the page and put it into us and make it effective for that change that we've been discussing? Well, we said that one of the first ways we'll do that is create the Q water. Okay, we know about that. We've been doing that. And then we go into therapies and other methods beyond the water. One way that we did that was with our two essential oil remedies that we had that we used a couple of weeks ago. Okay, Stress RX, Spirit RX. Okay, we used those. We've also used other therapies. We've used light therapies. We saw that last year. Becky has some very good equipment here. We've also used electrical equipment. We have the zapper, we have the Hiwa. We also have mechanical equipment, the Chi machine, and the Metal Run. Now, I'm going to ask Becky to give a great talk about this, because she's ready, and she has some great information for us. But once she's finished, I want to see if I can add a little bit of quantum mechanics to the talk to explain what we're really doing. It may help us. Okay, so Becky, please, take over. Let's give her a hand.
So I'm going to turn this on. If you'll turn the lights on for me so you can see the screen. While I'm doing that, I'm just thinking, you guys, that was a great share that you just did. But we're going to talk a little bit about pain. You know, gets everybody talking, and it's sort of a lead-in to light therapy. There's mental and emotional and physical, right? And would anybody be willing to share a little bit about how pain is impacted, you know, how it kind of distracted or got in your way a little bit, and what you might be trying to do? I know all these other therapies, gosh knows Gary's, I've used everything that he has back there and everything that we're using in the classes now, but if anybody has anything that they could just throw out, I'd love to hear it.
Well, you can imagine how pain is going to affect people with their neck, sleeping, their back, sleeping,
Certainly
having
impacted
quality
my
of life,
sleep.
right?
Last week, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
All of us, at some
definitely
point or
one way.
another.
Well, you can be thinking about that question. I know that a lot of time when you ask somebody, how are you doing? What the pain stories start to kind of flow out. And sometimes you're sort of like, okay. Go ahead, Ruthie.
Sometimes you don't realize how much pain you're in until you've had therapy, and then you see the difference.
Hallelujah.
Right. So we basically carry a lot with us
Yeah.
without realizing it.
And this is a pretty healthy group. I mean, everybody here has been working on stuff like this. Some of the people that I might be addressing, I might be not sure I wish that I asked that question, right? So I might have to be careful with that. But just kind of to get you thinking and, you know, to dive into talking about light therapy as a way to deal with pain. I'm going to cheat just a little bit before I get going here. I almost forgot my notes, and Sandra calmed me down and said you could do it without them. She was talking me off the ledge. But I did bring them. So anyway, this is the question I get asked. What is it? And when you and I both went to a seminar last year for a fellow health coach, and I was like curious what it was, what does it do, and who does it help? So that's kind of what I'm focusing on today, is answering some of those questions. We've discussed light before. You know, we put light on our Q water, right? And we're energizing that water to drink. And we know it's an essential element and a nutrient for plants and humans. We need it to thrive. So that's certainly, come on in, Scott. Certainly something I think that we all know. And it has been incorporated into lots of healing practices. I know I had the lights years ago in your office, and Dr. Norm Sheely definitely uses a lot of light therapy as well. So it's been around in a long time. It's not really anything new. And who uses light therapy? People who, like us, who want to be well and feel well and live well. So a lot of categories and groups of different type of people certainly are in that. What's the purpose of the light therapy? Really kind of two main buckets here. Promoting health, which a lot of athletes are using it. One of the gals and I were talking about licensed counselors for mental health, for calming anxiety and even depression, believe it or not. And restoring health, there's just all kinds of therapists that are working with their patients to get them back into a right track, and veterinarians as well. I didn't realize that light therapy is used a lot, especially with equine veterinarians. So who says it works? Because I wanted to know that when I first got involved with it. And a lot of people, a lot of institutions like NASA and Harvard and Boston Mass General. So 30 years it's been around, and it is all over the world, and it's a pretty hot area of research right now. And this website that I've listed up here called pubmed.gov has over 4,600 articles there, and there are about 300 to 500 being added every year. So there's a lot going on there, and I think the reason why is because it is safe. It is non-invasive, it's non-toxic, it's drug-free, and it's a healthy intervention for people. So good reasons to have it being researched like this. And if you do get brave enough to go on that website, I'm not really a science buff myself, but if you are, just know that there are many other terminology that it's called. Polychromatic light therapy, or PLT, the most common that I see. Low-level light therapy, LLLT, and a few other names. So it does have other names that it goes by that are really speaking generally about the same thing. I think everybody's probably had laser maybe work on them by a chiropractor, and Gary and I talked about this a few months ago. I just want to distinguish the difference between LED, light emitting diode, which is a hands-off application covering a large body surface and delivering multiple wavelengths. And that's a pretty big advantage when you're trying, you're not really sure exactly what's going on when you're putting the pad. The laser is a very pinpoint application with a small surface area, and a very pinpoint wave, only one single wavelength. So they both have advantages. That's not to say that laser still isn't good, but the LED it's a safe and easy way to use it at home on a daily level. So that's what's really great about it. What is PLT? I'm going to turn this on and grab one of these here. You guys that have been on the lights before know a little bit about what it is, but this is a neoprene pad that the lights are embedded in. In this one, it's blue, red, and then the little bumps that you can't see any color, that's near infrared. So there are different shapes of pads, as you can see up here, that go on different places of the body depending on what you're working on. What's it doing? Well, they go in at different depths, the different lights. The blue goes in just at the skin surface or just below, so anything going on with the skin, the blue is very advantageous for that. The red goes a little bit further, and then the near infrared goes all the way to the bone. So here's a perfect example that I know I've dealt with quite a bit, is lower back pain. Usually there's some restricted muscle going on, some poor blood flow. When you put the pad on the back, what it's going to do is increase the circulation, and you're just going to have the reduced pain. So you're going to be able to get around better, and this is something that I pretty much use every day on my lower back. Understanding the biology, is Dr. Scott here? This page is for you, because I'm not a biology buff at all. And so the part that I take away from this is nitric oxide is a miracle molecule, and that is what is helping unlock your own body's healing mechanisms. The technicalities of it all, I don't know if I'll ever get into, but thank goodness for people that study the body and learn about that, because it might not have come about. But there's a lot going on, and if you want to look on the PubMed website, or the InLight website has a lot of that information as well. But just so you know, there's a lot going on there when you put the pads on your body. I think I've told you guys this before, but I kind of wanted to emphasize it. It was not easy to get the FDA clearance. It's very difficult. And I always laugh when I look at the bottles of very powerful supplements saying this has not been evaluated by the FDA, saying, you can't claim anything, right, with this supplement. But in this case, the FDA has cleared the devices for increasing circulation and reducing pain. Simply put, the FDA says that the devices do what they say they can. And as a point of differential on the terminology, my English teacher back there, that the drugs they approve, and then medical devices are cleared. So I found that terminology a little strange when I first found out about that, but that's what that actually means. So we know that now these devices actually help reduce pain, and that's a good thing. And talking about pain a little bit from a standpoint of looking at our whole country, it's in bad shape. We spend $635 billion a year trying to manage pain. And just the adult population is 100 million adults that are experiencing chronic pain. So what you were talking about, it's like that, and the drugs that are being used, and not as enlightened of people as we have here necessarily in this class. And a lot of those doctors are not being able to write those prescriptions for those drugs these days. So we've got a pretty tremendously big economic problem right here and need solutions for it. And as I was kind of alluding to at the very beginning, trying to get you guys to think about the way pain impacts your life when you do have it. And it is distracting. It does it hamper your concentration, your sleep, your energy level. So it's a good thing that there's some things out there that aren't going to have any negative side effects and make these all hopefully go away and not be an issue. So here, just throwing out there some of the conditions that you might have that would cause some pain that the light therapy can do some good work on. Tendinitis, cellulitis, sinusitis, TMJ, carpal tunnel, neuropathies. This one's a really difficult one because it's sort of a numbing, stinging pain, and not very many drugs are effective about this one. And one of my best friends actually had been suffering for over 10 years and heard about me getting involved in the lights, and we tried it on her for a week and a half. And for the first time in 10 years, she was able to wiggle her toes and walk on the ball of her foot. I was hoping I could get her here, but I wasn't able to do that. But she's like, oh, I have to try this. So 3 months later, she's going to the Arboretum now. She's going to the mall. She's going to art museums again. And it's completely changed her life. She's 53 years old. So I did not really know that much about neuropathy, but there's a special boot for that InnerRx has, and what a big difference that has made. Also skin issues. Sure.
Are you familiar with any research that's been done as far as bone fractures or any cervical, if there's an issue with like a tiny healing fracture, as far as it promoting healing,
Right.
not just dealing with the pain? I know that it's only cleared for pain and inflammation.
Correct. That's all that they can say
But
right now.
I don't know if you're familiar with any studies out there that might indicate that that could be helpful.
I'm personally not, but I would check up the PubMed website, because you can put in the search engine.
Yeah, I'm
you know.
familiar with PubMed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be my best
I just didn't know
direction.
if you knew about something already.
Well, when I have experienced the lights, and those of you that have had a couple of light sessions, you just sort of go, wow, you know, I feel like I'm floating on a cloud a little bit. So with regular use, that's when you see what I think the potential is for, again, letting your own body bring forth its healing mechanisms. You know, you can't say that it was this, because that would just not be the actual correct way to put it. And we have to be compliant with the FDA about what we're saying. But again, I just really think that your body has the wisdom to go to work on types of situations like that. And especially, there's cosmetic benefits as well. I mean, the wrinkles and the dark spots that I have noticed that it's helped me with, you know, being in sales and trying to work with people in a kind of a more public way. I want to look as young as I possibly can. I want to keep them thinking out. So who does light therapy help? Certainly the elderly, and you know, when I think about the falls that elderlies have, you know, that's a situation that we need to watch out for. Putting them on the feet can bring sensation to the feet and likely prevent falls, and hands with arthritis, bringing some dexterity back so they can do, you know, their work or hobbies. Athletes, people who want to work out and do a sport either before or after their sport, they can use it to increase the energy and get better performance, and then to recover once they're done, or an injury. In my case, my knees last spring, I just basically was painful to go up and down the stairs, and I started using the lights, and about 2.5 months in, I really started noticing a difference. Again, I use the supplements and good diet. You know, it's not, there's no silver bullet. Dr. Berman tells me that all the time. But when you use things in a collective way, that's when the combined benefit really comes through. But a couple of months later, I was able to go to Santa Fe with my husband and hike up this peak called Picacho, 8,500 feet, when I had not been able to go but halfway the 2 years that I'd tried before. So I got up there and have a picture of myself going like that, and it was a huge accomplishment. I was thrilled. Certainly children with the injuries and sprains and things that they deal with, and our active military and veterans. So these guys, they need to do well out in the field that are already in the field, and also the ones that are recovering from TBIs and PTSD. This is a really big deal to the company, because there are so many of these veterans that are just taking so many drugs that they don't really even have any will to come back and do work and that kind of thing. So they have a nonprofit group, and then there's a special price for the 2-port 2-pad for vets only, which is proof of their military credentials. So that's a very awesome thing that they're doing. Who does light therapy help? Basically all of us. You guys, myself, anyone trying to restore their health or promote their existing health and have greater energy and feel better. I'll take any questions you guys have, and then I'm going to throw out a couple of good news bits for you. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I got one. I'm just curious, do you actually go to places like such as a business, or do people just come to you?
Well, a little of both right now. That was kind of what I was getting ready to lead into, is I will have a booth at the Addison Wellness Expo again. And so my plan is to participate in certain venues like that, where people are going to come in and be looking for something like this, and get them on the lights, let them try it. Yes, I can rent them. Yes, I can sell them. And, you know, the thing is to have 1 or 2 sessions, you're not going to be able to see the full benefit. There are chiropractors in North Dallas that I can refer somebody to, that they will go and you'll be charged about anywhere from $60 to $80 per session. So I'm not sure about being a practitioner myself. It could be that I go in that direction. Right now, I'm really more interested in learning how to educate. And this is my first chance of actually trying to do that, because I was thinking there's just it's a very expanding field. It's growing, and there's so much to learn, and yet everyone that's in our company is like, oh, you don't have to know everything, just expose it to people, and then people can decide for themselves, especially once they get on the lights. I know when I first got on them, I was like, I feel like I am just floating on a cloud. I want to have this feeling more often. I didn't really know how much it was going to help me heal from injuries, and I point to my shoulder because I had a shoulder injury here not too long ago and healed it up in about 2.5 weeks, whereas my rotator cuffs have been a source of trouble for me over the years. But, you know, it's just going to evolve, and I'm going to see, you know, they're opening a clinic in Dallas Left Field. It'll be the first of its kind, and there'll be so many job openings. I mean, engineers, lighting therapists, you know, I just wonder how big this is going to be, because you think about how many people do need a product like this, and how can we make it accessible to them? You know, how do you expose a technology like this? And that's what I think the company, you know, they've been based in Albuquerque and a mom and pop organization, and now it's really, there's going to be manufacturing facilities all over the world, and it's a very growing organization. So we'll see. Not really sure exactly. The main thing I kind of want to emphasize is, everybody, we're doing the meditation, we're doing the breathing, the essential oils, the sound therapies. When you do them all together at one time, that's when you really get kicked into high gear. So Gary's been kind enough, this coming Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm going to do 30-minute lighting consultations where you get a full session, whatever that is for you, 20, 25 minutes, depending on your age and general health. So I'll be doing lighting sessions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly next week as well, and then at the Addison Wellness Expo. I have also, the company is generous enough for an event that you're going to have with 250 or more people. I get to give this away to somebody and raffle it off. The only requirement is that you get on the lights at the Addison Wellness Expo April 15th or 16th. So this is the version of that, brand new, I just got it, that's a 2-port 2-pad. This device here would run $1,250. I would love for one of you guys to be able to win this. So, you guys let me know. I mean, I can do lighting consultations, like I said, this week and next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or at the Addison Expo is what you have to be there to possibly win this and have one for yourself. So, I'll be crossing my fingers. And I'm going to pass this around to see if anybody does want to go and get lighting sessions at Dr. Berman's this Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, completely free. And we can talk about what's specifically going on with you guys, and answer further questions in private if you have any at that time. And otherwise, that's all I have. Thank you so much. Oh, yes, go ahead.
One last question. Did you say that it helps with depression?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's symptoms associated with a lot of conditions that increasing circulation has a positive effect on, is probably the best way that I can describe it. So if you want to put it on your head, either here, or even up here, to get circulation to your brain, you know, Dr. Berman has the ability to help us read, you know, maybe that depression is caused by a situation in the gut, you know, and it's not really necessarily, you know, in the brain. We really don't necessarily know until we look at that particular situation. But if the diet is in good shape and the exercise and sleeping okay, then I would definitely go for putting one of these larger pads here over the head like a bonnet and try that for several sessions and see what would happen. I know I feel brighter after I get off the lights and definitely happier. And I'm a generally happy person. I'm just, you know, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm here. But it just gives me that sort of kick in my step. I can only imagine that that would help somebody that had that, for sure. Good question.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm curious about when you said the wrinkles and just like, you know, things going on with your complexion, face. What have you experienced with that? And where do you put the pads?
Well, the face mask I usually always put right here on over the eyes. So it's going to take care of all of this skin, and it has blue lights in it, so I'll go ahead and turn them on so you can see them again. The blue lights are going to be the most effective for skin. So I actually take both of these and I put them right on my face. And I've noticed that it's just, and people are telling me, you're looking, you know, better. And I'd kind of like to just stay at 45 years old. I don't want to look too young because, you know, that looks weird. But just having that skin glow and diminishing look of the wrinkles, yeah, that's worth the price of admission right there, Sherry, to me. Yeah. And the other benefits of the energy increase and the pain reduction they're fantastic too. I would say the cosmetic benefits kind of run side by side for me. And there's a dome you can actually put it over where you don't have to lay it on your face, that you can just lay under the dome and it just sort of clips into a plastic dome. A little bit more comfortable if you don't want them laying right on your face. Yes.
Explain the different colors, which is which. You know, you said there were 3 different types.
There's 3 different colors.
Can you explain?
Red, which looks red, as you can see, it's red, and blue.
Right.
And then the diodes that are just sitting here. One time, someone said, could they remove those? Because why are they there? You know, that is the near infrared. And near infrared is
there.
yeah, you can't see it with the naked eye, but it's there.
And that's where it goes really deep.
The deepest, right. If
What
you're
about
dealing
the
with
red?
something really deep in your body.
What about the one that's just red?
Well, these are actually red and infrared. And when you're talking about on your back and larger places on your body, you're generally wanting to do those 2 colors because you're going to go into the body deeper than just the skin. Now, they have blue pads like that that are just blue all the way across. And some shaped like a T. There's the new technology that's going to come out, and there's going to probably be a lot of new engineers getting hired over there at the new facility, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art light clinic. There's no telling what they'll come out with. And, you know, who knows when at some point they will actually go into different colors. Gary, what do you think about that? Because the sun has all the colors of the spectrum, and all of them would have value.
Right.
For whatever reason, these 3 colors have been the ones that the researchers have focused on, perhaps for cost or whatever. But these 3 do a lot, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we've got unlimited opportunities here. I mean, so I would hope that you would all take advantage of this and try it. It's very useful. And we'll go into a little bit more information here in just a few minutes, but done well.
Thank you.
Done well.
Thanks, you guys.
Now, under light therapy,
Yeah, presentation. Well, and I wanted, because you guys are all my buddies, and I say thank you for letting me try this out on you. If you guys want to do any kind of presentation, I bought this, and I can loan my projector to you. And because I saw that one up there, and I was like, you know, Mary told me we can't use these guys, but this is a handy dandy dude. And in years past.